Okay, so well, there's nobody's watching or participating, so this get this going just for the officiality of it. We are here for the Tuesday, September 26th, 2023 zoning citation hearings. We have 5 items on the agenda. We were originally going to start with 61 Ohio Avenue Extension. However, he's not here at the moment. So the next applicant is here, 79 and 87 Cedar Street. He is the owner of both. So if you're okay with that, let's start with
Perfect.
who came here to show up.
This is items 2 and 3 on
2 and
today's
3, yeah.
agenda.
So let me, I'll take these out of your way.
Yes, thank you.
No problem. And we are. Oh, these two. Here we go. If you want, because they are adjacent properties to each other, if you want, I can give you both previous decision forms there, counselor, so that
Yeah, why don't you give?
yeah, so you can do both and do both.
Perfect, thank you.
There we go. And so I'll start with number 87, sorry, 79, sorry, that's numerically first. And I do have a small presentation, and want to take a look. You are not 2 Cosset, you are 79 Cedar. There we go. Okay, so we were here originally in August for the initial hearing, and at that hearing, that was August 23rd. Basically, all that was done. We continued this to today, and no fine. No, it was just in fact there was a violation for parking in the front setback. So no fine. Did not do that, but we're back there. They didn't lose it, so that's good. That's a good thing. Small victories, I guess. So this is the notice sent to the property owner for today's hearing, highlighted there for 9/26/2023 at 3 p.m. And we have Constable Peter Bondi's certification of service that he dropped off.
Okay, perfect. And any issue with notice in this case? No. Okay.
And so just as a reminder, when we said parking in the front setback, it was just let me turn this here. I don't know why that scanned like that. So basically, we just have a it's just a large parking surface in the front that just has there's no admissible approvals, and pretty straightforward. And it's actually as a reminder, in this zone, it's pretty easy. It's just there's a 5-foot buffer that has to be maintained from behind the sidewalk. Behind the sidewalk, that's not the entrance. So we have the drop curb here. So anything that's not in the actual entrance has to maintain it's very small for most zones, a very small 5-foot buffer from the back of the sidewalk. And just as a reminder, the last one, the last time we were out there was back on, and I have that here. Prior to this, prior to the last hearing, which was back on August 18th, but that was prior to the last hearing. Pretty straightforward, same thing. Nothing crazy. And this is just an overhead aerial photo, just to show. Oh, there we go. Show what we're talking from an aerial perspective. And that's it. If, the hearing officer wishes, because the property owner is here. And he is the same property owner for 87 Cedar Street. We could do both of those. You just have to, we're gonna do a separate decision form at the end of the day for each.
Sure,
Each one.
if the property owner is
I said,
comfortable.
let's just do them separate, because there, on the 87, there was 2 other violations, the
Correct, yeah.
dumpster and the.
And
vehicles that are
the
parked there.
vehicles, right? So if you want, it doesn't,
Yeah.
it was just my, presentation is what I was going with, not necessarily,
Yeah.
not necessarily two
as long as-
separate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So if the property owner is comfortable with having the city present its argument on both properties.
okay,
Now, and then obviously you'll have the opportunity to
Speak on each one,
There'll be two
right.
separate decision forms.
So let's see. So what we'll do is I'll go back to, let me shrink this down. And we'll
John,
do,
that was it
yes,
for 79.
79, correct, yep. 87, and we'll just do this one here. So I get that, the previous decision form, again, to kind of circle back here. August 23rd, last time we were here. And so as the owner alluded to, there's a few more violations here other than parking in the front setback. We also have outdoor storage of unregistered vehicles and recreational vehicle, primarily a boat and trailer. And then also the storage of a commercial vehicle, which is not permitted in the zone, which is the first violation on the previous decision form. And like I said, in addition, same thing, parking in the front setback as on 79.
what was the commercial vehicle?
I'll show you.
Okay.
Is there, yep, okay. So we'll go down through there. So then again, a matter of housekeeping, here's oh, actually, I handed you the wrong ones on each one, my fault. That's for 79. These two are actually for 87.
Okay.
Yeah, so there, yeah, so, yeah.
Okay.
And it's just Constable Bondi's service again, with our hearing notes.
Okay. Once again, any issue with notice for today's hearing?
Is it starting to get confusing or no, mixing them up, or?
No,
Okay.
no, are you?
Because 79 and 87, they have, the biggest one is my biggest argument is that setback. And,
Well, not the argument right now, just with receipt of notice of today's hearing.
oh, okay.
Were there any
No,
issues?
well, I got it on Saturday or Sunday.
Well, the constable went out.
He went up, yeah, he has the date, here you go, I can show it up,
Okay,
here you go,
okay.
yeah. Peter went out on, he said he did the service, well, he says the 23rd, which that's not, that shouldn't be, well, maybe it was. Maybe it was the 23rd, that was Saturday,
Saturday.
yeah, so that may have been it.
Okay. But yeah, just that, that gave me
Okay.
2 business days, well, 1.5 business days set up, so.
Okay,
And here's that aerial photo again, just, why did these come out? It's supposed to be an automatic thing, you send them through and it supposedly scans it right, but anyway. So that's just that aerial, same aerial shot that's there. And so the photo I have here, and we'll break this out, so we'll separate 79 and 80, that's 79. And we have 87 here. 2 photos, and the first one there, again, this is illustrating that parking in the front with the 5-foot setback from the edge of the driveway. I'm sorry, edge of the sidewalk. I keep saying driveway. And we have on here, we have, and there's the lip of the other driveway is a little bit off the picture. That's my fault for not getting that there. And also to the right, but basically this is the area in question for parking in front on number 87.
okay,
And it may actually go on to a little bit of 79 if you look at the aerial photo. It might go a little bit over both, but same principle.
okay.
And second photo is, so here we go. This is what we have. So we have red car as unplated, so unregistered, boat and trailer, that's an obvious one. Commercial vehicle, the gray truck with the heavy duty bed. And a unregistered van. And that is, so the 2 unregistered vehicles in the boat, that's the outdoor storage violation. And then the heavy duty truck is a commercial vehicle. So that's why we have separate. In most zones, we don't have to do that. This particular zone, we have to separate the
That's a
two.
pickup truck with a flat, rack body on it.
That is what's, we do consider that a commercial vehicle, but yeah, normally we combine all that, but particular zones, the Golden Hill Village District, so we have to combine that.
And the van's unregistered and the rack body is registered.
So we have to take, if we don't
I
have
think
a
that's why it
plate,
might be backwards.
well, we have, so no, the unregistered is the van, this van
That
unregistered.
should be registered.
The only reason we say, we make that conclusion is because just don't see the plate. So like the red one, we don't see a plate, so we have to.
So the
if
rack
there-
body was one of my first trucks that I started my business with, and that's
Hmm.
what been sentimental, but that hasn't been on the road in probably about 15, 18 years.
Okay,
Okay,
Fair
so
enough.
that one hasn't been registered.
okay, that's not, okay, fair enough.
The other one is a truck
Is
that I use for repairs.
So
and
these
stuff.
two, all right, so. Based on testimony of the owner, switch, switch those two.
Okay.
It's the same number, just different labeling.
And
Okay.
the car's not registered. That was my uncle's.
Right. So, and then as I like to do, just give a reminder of the last, sorry, that's a duplicate. And the last time we were there again on the 18th, just like number 79. Ran through these slides. There we go. There's a close up right there. That's why we called that one registered, because we didn't see the plate.
The 18th of what?
August was the first time. And there, so yeah, so based on the owner's testimony, that's not, we gotta switch those out. That's fine. So there we go. This is the 18th. We have the. Oh, hi.
I'm Sasha.
Oh, for the hearings?
Yes.
I just want to have a seat. You'll be,
Thank you.
yep. So there's the van. And a little bit of a unique angle there, but, and then there's the vehicles, the other vehicles in question. And again, that was on the 18th, and that's all we got. So, basically, we're just, again, we continued it. The issues are, again, on number 79, parking in the front setback, 5 feet from the back of the, sidewalk. And, the 87 is just the, removal of the unregistered vehicle / commercial vehicle. And as you can tell, I'll bring this up again, just real quick here. On the. Did I go far enough? Here we go, not that one. Next one. So outdoor storage. So for example, for the boat and trailer can be permitted, but there's conditions that need to be met here. Things like some screening. And it's basically effectively screened from adjacent properties, which in this case could be pretty easy. Because obviously there's only 2 properties adjacent to it. There's the state and then the adjacent property, which is also owned by the property owner. So.
And that's not with respect to commercial vehicles.
Right, the commercial vehicles have to be
Oh,
taken, or the commercial vehicle has to be.
If that was registered just as a regular,
So the van is, if it's registered as a
it's my personal.
vehicle and there's no logos or anything on it and it's under a 1-ton capacity,
Yeah.
which I believe it is,
Yeah.
then if it's registered as such, then it can be there and just has to meet that same 5-foot setback.
And the same for the rack body. Right? Or,
Well, the rag body, that if it's, once it becomes registered, we consider that, we still consider that a commercial vehicle, whether it's registered or unregistered.
Yeah.
It's because
but
of
if
the,
it was registered, it doesn't have to be a commercial vehicle. Cause it's just an well, similar to F-250, it's a Chevy, so it's a C20.
well, we look at, the other key thing is you have your logo on it,
Okay,
commercial vehicle, so, and that's what we use that as an indicator for any vehicle, because what we try to prevent is, some folks will have an F-450 or an F-550 or so, or a dually, Ram.
yeah, but that's not that category, but the letters make it different.
That's what I mean, it's not that, but what
Yeah.
folks would do is they would say, oh, no, that's my personal vehicle, it's got personal, no,
So if I took the logos off, it would be,
Yeah, and then you have to register it as a regular vehicle. Yeah, correct. So, now, Mr. Rafa has, said he has, reached out. I have not had an opportunity to get back to him at this point. So I think if Mr. Rafa and I could, because again, we have the notice here. If we can be allowed a little time to, coordinate, I think we can have a very good solution to all this.
Yeah.
And I've known Mr. Rafa for a long time, for a little while.
So Mr. Rafa, is there anything else you'd like to add with respect to, well, let's start with 79 Cedar Street.
well, I'm not gonna say anything about my phone calls that I left. Should I put that on the record or not? I could do it at a later date, but anyway, John, I know he's busy, I know he's understaffed and all of that, I read about it in the paper, so I'm aware of that. And I like him also. So on the street, I went down the street today just to see about this setback thing, because my property is probably one of the oldest ones. The asphalt that's there, unfortunately, I went through a miserable divorce a couple years ago and I gave my ex a lot and I'm still paying mortgages on my properties, except for 87. But I'm trying to keep that for myself. So I'm very low on funds right now. Okay, some days I don't even feel like waking up and I'm still doing what I gotta do. Hopefully I can go back to where I used to be someday and make my money again. But I went down the street and nobody has these setbacks. My property has the original old asphalt from forever, right up to the sidewalk until the city came in, or not the city, whoever redid the bridge. State. They took my parking lot, they used it for staging, they guaranteed me new pavement, they're gonna take care of it, and they freaking ran everything, they blocked the whole road off. But when they came in, they put their new sidewalks in and they went right up against my old existing asphalt, which is there and has been there way before any zoning change of Golden Hill or Cedar Hill or whatever, any of that stuff. But on top of that, if you go down the street, I believe there's approximately 14 properties on that street, on that side of the street. 5 of them are built right on the sidewalk, so that's one, like 79 Cedar Street is built on there, but these people have no parking on either side, so you can't count those. So if you eliminate that 5, that leaves 9. 9 of those other properties have the same situation as what I got going there, except, I don't know if you can see that, but they marked their parking. Is that something that's needs a setback? Because there's 9 of these. There's not just mine. Mine doesn't have the marked parking. It doesn't have the bridge on it.
Those would absolutely have
Well,
to say.
that's
so
the
that would cut,
Christopher's Realty people.
that would cut right in front of it. So if landscaping were put in, it would cut right in front of
Backup
it.
zone, it would encroach the backup zone. They can't have a backup zone there because I don't even think they have a legal parking spot there for the backup zone up to the sidewalk. So this is, down by La Supressa Restaurant
Espresso, yep, know where that is.
and the liquor store next door. They both have the same, if you zoom in, it goes all the way across there, huge parking lot, another one.
So this is difficult for the record. We're not able to share.
Oh, I'm
So
sorry.
so I was just gonna.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
jump in.
I could get the pictures
Yeah,
from out
absolutely.
printed or something eventually, but.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, I do think, and I don't mean to interject, I want to let you continue with your
No, I
presentation.
understand. I just wanted to get that out there.
But I do want to
because
let you
It's like
know
prejudice
that
to be against me.
I think as of now, considering what we've heard and the fact that there hasn't been, meaningful discussion between the city and the property owner in this instance, I am ultimately going to continue this hearing.
Okay.
So if you do want to submit photos or evidence for the record, they can be provided to John. And
Right,
he can then submit
email
it to
me.
me
We'll
the
print
next
out.
time
I'll
we
send
get
it to you.
together.
Yeah.
Okay.
Obviously, I want to allow you to continue.
Nope, I just wanted to get that off my chest because like I said, there's some people that painted their lines and it's. One of them's 10 inches away from the curb. That's supposed to have 5 feet of separation of landscaping. There's the other Colombian restaurant has concrete, their driveway pavers go in front of their building. I was there today, there's cars parked there all the time. I've been kind of like not at my building, so a little store uses the parking. My building, sometimes when I pull up, I go to check the mail, so I will park in front of the place. And legally, if I do measure 5 feet, because like 4 years ago, this thing started, somebody sent me a note and they had it surveyed. And I guess they kind of backed down because there is a place that I could have legal parking in front of my
Mhm.
building with the width that I need if I do the landscaping. So,
Yeah.
so I just feel like right now, because I can't afford to do a lot of this work, I want to try to get these things cleaned up and rented because that's important to me. To help me with income, but because I can't afford to do this right now, and if they're gonna pick on me for this here, and I know it's not, it has to get a report, but if the city, I mean, if the street wants to do that, let's go down the street and let's straighten everybody up and give them their 5 foot and take away their parking spots that they rely on to keep their buildings afloat too.
Okay, so that's something. And do you have any comments? I do want to talk. I do want to talk about 87 Cedar
Okay.
Street, or do you have anything else to say with respect to 70?
No, I understand. I probably get, put up maybe a fence across there, but when I
Yeah.
was leaving you messages, I would like to see what I could do there. I could try to do the fence myself. It's just the materials.
Now, do you have an idea of how long it would take you to get the fencing up that you would need and remove the commercial
Well,
vehicles?
I'd like to talk to him
Yeah.
first, and if I do put the fence up, then things are hid behind there, so the commercial vehicle, I take the name off and it's not commercial anymore,
Okay, so,
from what I understand, but when we go out there,
Well,
maybe John has time to.
yeah, I want to give the parties an opportunity here to speak and maybe visit the property and work, see if we can resolve this before we come back here for continuation of this appeal hearing. So John, you tell me, we're in a position now to make a finding and give the decision form,
Oh, it is, yeah, it's right, they're right here. There you go.
or did you give me?
No, nope, I didn't. I kind of held that back for me. I apologize.
And Mr. Rapp, do you have anything else to add for the time being?
No.
Okay,
That's for 87, that's 79.
so we'll start with 79. So for 79. Remember how to fill this thing out properly.
Okay.
I used to have a big printer. I would have printed all these today, but I didn't want to go. I was like, asked my son, I said, where's Staples? Where do I get these things printed? Kinko or whatever. He's like, I don't know.
Oh, yeah, that's,
don't even know
Staples
that-
is usually a good idea, but we can,
Where's Staples now?
um,
It used to be on Connecticut Avenue. It's actually
It's
furniture.
Westport.
Westport Avenue, there's one there.
Kinko's used to be where Costco's is, right? Or where the liquor
Right, and I
store
think there
is.
is still a Kinko's up by, on Westport Avenue by Bank of America if you're going towards, Westport. It's just where you get to Westport. There used to be a lot more of that around. We used to give
Not
that
sure
advice.
that's there
We,
anymore. I think you're talking about where, there was a bagel place or something next door.
yeah, Panera was there,
Never
yeah.
was there.
I mean, we used to tell people to go there to get printed plans all the time, copies, and, you know, haven't had to do that lately, but years ago, that was our go-to.
So.
You want me to email these pictures?
If you want, sure, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I'll print them out for you. You don't have to worry about that.
Okay, so I'm going to find that there was proper notice in this instance with respect to 79 Cedar Street. I am going to, we did find there was a violation found at the last, our August hearing. I'm going to, there's a continued violation. I'm going to continue the party to, we're going to continue the hearing to allow the parties to discuss a resolution that would be mutually agreeable. That may involve a visit to the site and discussions back and forth. Hopefully we can get this resolved as quickly as we can. So we'll continue this to the next hearing, which I don't believe we have a date for. The notice will be provided probably, I would guess sometime in October. John,
Yeah,
is that
sometime
typically-
typically we do anywhere between 3 and 5 weeks out. So
Yes.
probably sometime in October, maybe early November.
Yeah, I'd say probably late October, early November. We'll reconvene and see whether we've been able to reach an agreeable resolution. If not, obviously, fines can be imposed. I know at this point there is a minimum fine, I believe, of over $5,000. I'm not going to issue a fine at this point. Let's see if the parties can work this out first. And if need be, we'll reassess at the next appeal hearing.
Sounds good to me.
Any question with respect to 79?
Nope.
Okay.
I will take that envelope then. Thank you.
Is this recording accessible or?
Yeah, it will be in, I think 24 hours.
How? I'm not-
It's on, sorry, it's on our, website. It's on our, just go to Norwalk, CT.org.
Yep.
.gov, sorry, got used to that. And,
Just go straight to YouTube.
or you can do it on YouTube, you can type it in YouTube. That's it, yeah, right, youtube.com,
Okay.
type it in the search engine. Are you gonna wanna look Norwalk citation hearings and today's date?
Okay.
And it should be there, give it a day, probably today's Tuesday, Thursday, should definitely be there by.
And with respect to 87 Cedar Street, similar findings, notice was proper in this case. There is a continued finding of violation. I'm going to continue the hearing with the same anticipated time frame as 79, to allow the parties to meet, discuss, and see whether there is a resolution here that's agreeable to everybody. I'm not going to issue a fine at this time, and we'll push this off till late October, early November, and see what things stand at that time.
Sounds great to me.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, all right, send me those pictures, I'll get them
How do
printed out for
I
you.
send to you? Do
Send my email, yeah, it should be on one of the notices, but I will give
you know,
a-
so if it's on the notice, I.
Yeah, it's on the bottom there, yep, and just shoot me those, I'll print them out, and we'll go from there.
All right.
Alright, good to see you.
So how,
Take care.
how are we gonna?
Well, right, so when you send an email, I'll shoot a couple times back
Yeah.
on the times and dates, and we can get going from there,
Okay.
whether we can meet on site here or wherever.
So don't leave you a message.
Yeah, no, that's especially, I'm actually not even gonna be in Wednesday through Friday, so just shoot me an email, I'll be able to get there.
Okay. All right, thank you.
You got it, take care. Thank you, sir. You know, I'm just gonna get all these organized and stuff later, because we do have another. Interested party here for their item, so I'll just take care of all this later.
Myself, I don't know, something.
Sure, come on, thanks for stopping by.
So now that was
Is, 79.
3 and 4 on the agenda,
Yep,
or 2 and 3, excuse me.
yeah, 2 and 3,
Okay,
yes. 87. 7. And 2 Casa is gonna be the next one.
okay.
But these are just. I'll be honest, he gave me a call on Monday afternoon, I just didn't get a chance to get back to him, so it's
Yeah,
like, it's tight, so. I was like,
I understand how
Yeah.
it is.
I was just like, oh, I couldn't, and I figured he'd probably show up here. So that's why I was
Yeah,
like,
no, I'm
all right,
glad he showed up.
yeah, so am I, I'm glad
We can
he did, because we can have a good
hopefully,
conversation.
yeah,
Yeah,
get this resolved without the need for funds.
yeah, right. Okay. Asher, come on. Okay. Yeah, nice to meet you in person, all the electronic back and forth, right, exactly. So let me get that, let's see here, so shrink this down. 87's done, 79 is done, 2 Casa. Here we go. All right, and so we'll do it. Works so well with the last one, we'll send this one. That's the previous decision form, which is
Thank you.
currently there. And this is just the notation breakdown of the last hearing.
Thank you.
I've only had one, so it's pretty short, that's pretty good. Yeah. Whenever you're ready, Counselor, I will begin.
Yeah, please proceed.
Alrighty, so last time we were here, this is again 2 Casa Street, this is item number 5 on the agenda, we are taking the representative for the property owner here. Because they showed up, so should reward those who show up. And so this is number 5 on the agenda for those of you who are keeping score at home. And last time we were here was on August 23rd. not too long ago. And at that hearing, that, the proper notice was found due to constable service. And continued to today's hearing for some progress. And that's just a notation, basically saying progress has to be done, no fine was issued either. So as a matter of housekeeping, we have a turn, that is, one step at a time, John, one step at a time. The hearing notice, for today, there's highlighted September 26, 2023. Here is Constable Bondi's, service at the abode. And I will make the notation again that the abode service is required just simply because I believe still at this time, the house is deemed not habitable, due to the fire at the residence. So Constable Bondi has to leave that abode. And so I will make the motion that, we have proper notice.
Okay, and I'm sorry, Miss Ross, are you
Moss.
Sharon
No,
Moss?
I'm Sasha. Sharon and Glenn are my parents.
Okay,
My father passed away in two thousand
I'm
fifteen,
sorry.
and my mom is old, elderly and has some health issues, so I'm handling everything.
Okay, and are they aware that you're handling this on
Yes.
their behalf and they've authorized you to handle this?
Yeah.
Okay, and did you reside at 2 Casa Road?
Yes,
Okay, and no one's currently residing?
No.
there, presumably, okay. Do you have any issue with the notice in this case?
well, okay, so this goes back a ways, I think.
Just the notice.
Oh,
Well,
just
yeah,
the notice?
Just the notice.
Just
yeah.
the
Oh, yeah.
notice of today's hearing?
Yeah, yeah.
Any issue? You're-
No, I don't have any
Just notice was received?
right, yes.
Perfect.
but-
All right.
Perfect, all right.
Then I will make a finding of proper notice in this
Perfect.
case.
Okay. So my first exhibit here, we will. It does it again. I'll get this figured out by next hearing. I promise. There we are. Okay, so we have here, this is the property, 4 photos from just yesterday. Oh no, 9/22, Friday. I'll get my dates right sooner or later too. And just showing the rear of the property with just unregistered vehicles and some minor storage containers. They could be there's oil there, it could be many fluids, or that fluid container storage, put it that way. And that's just through to a van that was there, a little closer up shot of it. That's photo 3. And photo 4, this one was actually from the right of way. Actually, these are all from the right of way. These are all just me pointing, clicking. And this is from a little bit of an angle. It's actually in the right of way in front of the adjacent property. Just trying to get a wide shot, is basically all that is. But it's the same thing, just unregistered vehicles, some tools and some equipment and some storage. And that's the 4. And then, like I said, like I like to do, is just go over the previous photos, just so you can see what was there prior versus today. Again, Jesus. Here we go. Okay, so as I alluded to earlier, the property sustained a fire. So this is the front of the property. This was presented at the last hearing. Again, this is just a quick refresher. And at that time, there was also an RV on the property, but that has since been removed. And then it tells similar conditions at the rear of the property. In August 10th, as there is today. I'll save everybody a description of each one, self-explanatory. And there's various photos, and there's a wide shot again from the neighboring right away neighbor's yard looking forward. Not yard, I shouldn't say yard, get it off the record, the right of way in front of the neighbor's property, because they didn't know I was there. So, yeah, so we're to say that and I did actually also receive an email I'm gonna stop share for one moment. I did receive an email from Sasha. And I am going to, where did I put the thing there? Because it was a late scan. Let's see. There we go. And I'm gonna do the share screen once again. So I can get that back. And I'll present this here. This is the email that Sasha sent on, actually on Monday, the 25th. And basically informing that they have secured a place to move some of the vehicles. Saying that the ones that belong to the family will remain. And that they want a little time to accomplish getting what they can off the property. And then my summary is just that given the email that was sent on Monday, taking a different path than what I originally had wanted. Just as long as we can get that accomplished by then, or even I don't know if you heard me say that, I'm not here Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, so get a little more time than that. So if you just even sometime next week, I'll be back in the middle of the week. I can come out late next week or even the following week, just to get as much of that as you can out of there. And the key thing is, and I gotta put it on record for somebody's gonna see this. The key thing is the activity of repair and restoration, that is the big thing. That is the big, that has to come to an end.
Okay, that I understand. It's just, I didn't know it was illegal for me to work on my own car on my property. You know what I mean? I'm not running a business. I'm not, taking this car and, oh, I found someone on the side of the road that needed their brakes done, bring them home and that's not what I'm doing. I'm taking care of my own cars.
Right, and I just want, just so you're aware, like we have to have it, and most of the time, we get several, not dozens of complaints a year about various properties having various types of repair and activity going on at the property. And just truth be told, it's a very difficult thing for us to prove. If we look at the intensity of it, if we have one that's coming in 2 weeks. To be honest, he's working on 2 cars. If you look at his property, it is innocuous. It's very, very minor. You can't tell what's going on. Neighbors believe there's something going on. That's why I'm coming here. So in this case, we feel that it was a bit more intense than a normal hobby or a normal. And the thing is, you may be, you may be not just fixing your car, maybe you have a friend come by, hey, you need my oil changed, or, need a tire done or something like that. In general, normally that's not an issue. What it is here, there's a level of intensity, the amount that was going on.
Okay.
And also and as I'm sure you learned, the storage of this, there was a lot of things being stored that are a little bit above and beyond.
Right.
That, unfortunately, it created the hazardous condition so that's why we're here. That's what it is. It's not necessarily that you can't work on your cars. Absolutely you can. If you have, a family these days can easily have 5 or 6 cars, easily.
Yeah, I've got 6 kids.
Yeah, exactly. This is easily, that's something that's reasonable these days. It's not the 60s anymore, 50s anymore. So it's to that degree. So that's why I feel that if we can show, it's because especially like I said, to the neighbors and to what we're doing here, that intensity has dropped substantially. That's what we're looking to do.
Okay, understandable.
So the city has made its argument. I do have a quick question.
Sure.
From the August 10th photos.
Sure.
We have photos
Let me
from
go.
the front of the house.
Yes.
Um,
Let me go real quick here. Let me get that back up. This one's from August 10th. Yeah. So which number? Number
so
1,
I'm
probably.
looking at number 1.
Okay, let me get that there. There you go.
Yes.
We don't have similar photos from your last visit out on the 22nd. Have the vehicles been removed from the front of the residence?
So the 2 white cars in the driveway are still in the driveway because they were a part of the fire.
Okay.
So we're dealing with insurance for those. and the Jeep that's there, all three of those were burned in the fire.
Okay.
So that's a part of the
So they
insurance
remain on
and
the
claim,
property.
right? In the driveway now, along with that is my dad's Tacoma pickup truck, which is not registered at the moment, but we're working on it. And the white van and the black car are in the back of the house right now.
Maybe.
The white van is leaving. The black car was supposed to be mine.
Yeah.
You know,
Dan, that's how
so
things roll sometimes.
exactly.
So let me see if I can get that. Let me go to today's, not today's, few days ago photos. Let's see if we can get that just on the screen. So let's see here. This is a wider
Yeah,
shot. So that's the
so white
van.
van is
Yeah,
being
the
removed.
white van
That's
is in the
being-
back.
yep.
Yeah, that's being removed. The honestly, the only thing that's still in that backyard that I wouldn't move is the Mustang. That was
Right,
my,
that's back
that
here.
was my husband's uncle's car. He just passed away recently.
Mhm.
And so that is like his classic baby. That's
Right.
the one he wants to hold on to.
Okay,
So, other than that, the Corolla is leaving. The
okay.
blue pickup truck we're using to move out of our rental property right now, so that's not at the home anymore.
Okay.
Um,
Well, let me, I just made this also for the hearing officer as well.
Yeah.
So when I point out all these things here, like the unregistered vehicles and that, you know. When there's the vehicles are unregistered,
mhm,
that's like another drop in that bucket of intensity.
mhm,
If they're registered. And they're registered to people who own or reside at the property, then. That's a whole different story. That's a whole different song. So if, for example, what I'm pointing at, these ones here, if they
Yes.
all had valid registrations, either I could see them on a plate or you can provide me a copy.
right,
Then I could say, oh, those are permitted on the property. They just have to meet the setback, which this clearly does because it's behind the structure.
right.
So that's just something to consider, going forward. And there are regulations at the moment. They don't require a certain type of, so like you say, you have the Mustang,
Mhm,
you could get a classic plate for it. So, and that is valid.
okay,
So you don't have to get a full blown registration on that one. It's just as long as it's our regulations at the moment, don't make any distinction as long as it's registered.
okay,
So if you see you're having a hard, like if you want to keep the Mustang or one of these vehicles, just having a hard time getting rid of, consider maybe registering it even temporarily,
okay,
so that could be at the property.
all right.
So I think, okay, so Ms. Moss, the city has made its presentation. Do you have anything in addition to what you've already stated that you'd like to put on the record?
Honestly, like I was saying earlier, this whole thing goes back a ways, which I'm sure you're aware of. At the time when we had the first citation situation going on, and I believe it was May 1st, we had until to get everything cleaned up in the front and have
Yeah,
everything
right.
presentable.
Yeah,
Which we did. My mistake was not getting in touch with you to come and have you look at it,
right.
because by the time that happened, the
Fire
fire,
happened, right,
and then that screwed us again.
right.
So,
No, I understand.
It's hard, but we're trying to do our best with clearing everything out and making sure that we can start the demolition process and all that,
Right.
because with all of this going on, I can't even move forward.
Right,
with that.
the key then, this, so what that means is that, the property's not only under our, radar, not on our radar as well with, the blight office. Now, the blight office
That's what I was
is,
gonna ask.
right, is under the, umbrella of code enforcement building department. If there's a violation of blight or any other code or building, regulation, they cannot issue a demolition permit. So, in one regard, mine could still be open,
Mhm.
but I'm hoping not to, but if mine could still be open, it makes no mind on their demolition permit. You have to make sure that you're in the clear with the blight office.
Mhm.
And
So
is there currently a blight?
I
Has there
have,
I
Well,
believe,
that's not relevant for.
It's not re-
for what
I- I
we're
am-
here for.
I believe the blight officer, when, we do have a meeting once a month. He did say he was going to be sending his blight letter. Whether he actually did that or not, I have no verification of that, but if he's considering it, then that means he does have it on his radar. So you may wanna just get a hold, because that, like I said, you go to demo to actually try and improve the property, that's gonna stop you.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Much more so than what I have.
So not relevant for our purposes here today with zoning, but certainly something to keep in mind as we move forward. So, yeah, my concern here is, as the hearing officer, is whether or not there's a commercial use here, and, an impermissible commercial use. it- So long as the vehicles you've discussed are removed, and, you can take steps to register the ones that remain, to demonstrate to me that they are your vehicles and they're properly stored on the property, then that's not an issue. But so I'm going to, do you have anything else, anything further to say on this issue? I don't want to cut either
No,
the city
you're
or the
good.
property owner off.
I'm good.
Honestly, no, because, I could say, oh, I looked around the neighborhood and this and that, but that's not gonna help me,
It's not
Yeah,
relevant
exactly.
for
It's not
what
gonna
I'm
help the situation.
here to decide.
So,
Yeah,
exactly, so, we're just gonna do our best to clear everything out of there and, or, clear what we can, register what we can, and hopefully be out of your hair.
Yeah, I think that is the key. There just can't be a commercial operation in a residence B zone. So it sounds like we do have kind of a tentative plan moving forward. So I'm gonna continue this hearing. I don't know if you heard the last hearing. I don't know the exact date. We'll
That's fine.
probably be
Yeah,
looking
no, that's
late October, early November. I know in your email you asked for
Right,
until
to the end of the
September
month. Yeah.
30th. That would be ideal. I won't hear it before then, but certainly, please communicate with Mr. Duffy.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And like I said, I'm out after today for a few days, so you definitely have at least a little longer to make some progress.
I appreciate that. And
Yeah, like I
I
thought,
will too.
Yeah, and I'm also, I have 296 violation files, so
Mhm.
if I can take a break from one, I'm okay with that.
I totally understand. Yeah, I'm in front of them every day, yeah.
No, I don't. Believe me, see my office, not to make a parallel, but something next that's gonna catch fire is my office, the fire marshal cannot walk in there.
That's the thing I didn't understand either. Anything flammable
Mhm.
was at the front of the garage, and that's not where the fires.
That's, I believe that's somebody that's got more scientific background than I do.
Exactly.
That's, God knows a little bit more
That's the
about that than I do. My majors were in geography, politics, and administration, so far from that. Somebody with did I leave Gary's name on there?
You did, that's okay.
Oh, my gosh, I apologize.
Like I said, it's more insulting to Gary than.
Oh, no, he would say the other way around.
So I apologize for taking so long to write,
Oh,
trying to be legible for staff here.
No worries.
Just difficult for me to do, so, first, just to reiterate, I find that there was proper notice in this case. At our last hearing in August, there was a finding of violation, and can find that violation is continued. I'm going to continue the hearing, however, until late October, early November, to allow you to work with staff, register what you can, remove what you can, and just demonstrate to me that there is no ongoing commercial operation here, because that is my concern. So I'm not going to issue a fine at this time. Obviously, if significant progress is not made, we reserve that right, and the fines at this point could be fairly significant. So I just ask you to do everything you can and work with staff and just try to clean this up and register. Take the steps necessary to, again, convince me that there's no commercial operation and clean everything. Okay, any
Sounds
questions?
Sounds good to me.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. I think how you'll get a copy of this, I'll email you a copy of that and, yeah, and then just email me with any as you've been doing. Any progress, let me know. And I'm in the neighborhood every now and again, so I'll peek in if I drive by.
All right,
All
thank
right,
you.
you got it. Thank
Thank
you.
you, it's nice
No,
meeting you.
pleasure to meet you finally. All right, take care. So let's get this all the way in the ears. I'll take that. Even though you can tell sometimes like there's not gonna be an appeal, but I always want to keep the good practice and keep everything in order so that in case there ever is an appeal
Absolutely.
on one of these. A close one last week, I'll take that. Yeah, close one with Gary's last hearing.
Really?
Yeah, I almost have, may have one. First one, 6 years. Never been appealed yet, so that means you must be doing something right.
That's actually very surprising, but
Hmm.
it's gonna happen eventually.
It will, yeah, that's why I want to get ready for it, just in case. Okay, well, I'm gonna take just a really quick glance outside there, just to make sure nobody is there waiting. One of our last two items one of them is definitely not coming, they informed me of that.
Okay,
So unless there's somebody out here. Okay, so we'll start with that one, just in case the other item, which I'm not 100% certain if nobody's coming on, give them full opportunity to get here. So the next item we will do is 48 High Street. And for those following at home, that is number 4. And sorry, folks, this is out of my norm. Normally we go right down the line. This is letting our hair down a little bit today. That is the previous decision form and the notes from the last hearing. Here. And shrink. Beautiful. There we go. Right, let's go. Last time we we're here again, August 23rd, noticing a pattern here. And at that time, the violation was found. No fine was issued and a continuance to today's hearing. Because they were not here last time, we were forced to send notice of today's hearing, which we did. Present the notice and in the middle there shows today's hearing and time. And the next page is Constable Bondi's service. Left at the abode, but a little note saying that he spoke to the homeowner over the intercom at the gate and instructed to leave the service at abode, which my guess is probably the mailbox.
and this is Nicolina.
Yep, Nicolina, yep,
Okay,
she's a member
of the,
Ownership LLC.
yeah, okay. Okay, well,
Yeah,
in that case, then I will make a finding of proper notice.
very good. All right, so I'll figure this. I know I'm gonna have to call the copying company to figure out exactly how to do this. Cause it was fine last time. I don't know what happened. Anyway. So these photos are from actually this morning. One of my coworkers, one of my fellow inspectors went out and actually got these pictures for me, because I received a message from the property owner late yesterday afternoon. They claimed that the property was in compliance. So I sent I didn't send her out, she graciously assisted me. And the parking lot is very, very clear. The only remaining item, if you will, is there's a little debris in the back. I shouldn't say the back, to the side of the property. And while that is a potential issue, the violation at hand is the operation of a commercial storage business. There's nothing about that that screams business here. And to kind of bring that home, again, doing a quick review of previous photos and findings. This is what the property looked like on July 6th of this year. That is more to the tune of a contractor storage yard. Just a lot of equipment. It was actually even active. The excavator there was going full bore. There was even a large trailer in the sidewalk. Lots of material storage, mafia block, I'm sorry, can't use mafia block anymore. Material storage bin blocks, that's it.
That's better.
Sheesh, yeah, and there's like pallets of material, so that's what was there in July. And last but not least, this was our previous meeting, 2 pictures from August 18th. At that time, the bin blocks were still there, and they're considered a contractor's implement, so those could not be there. Yeah, the bigger issue here is, and I guess it could still be there, and this is maybe something for worth a discussion, but they have a gate. So really about half step backwards to the south of the property there. The same owner actually does have a legal contractor's yard. It's actually it's been there for many years, has permits, the whole 9 yards. Part of the issue is they were utilizing this parking lot to access that that property. And as you see, they have their storage tent where they have material there. That is on the next property. It's not on this one. So this is not the first time we've had this argument or this discussion, is where does a fence / gate become commercial access? We don't have, our regulations don't necessarily point to anything concrete with that. I have word from the actually from a member of the LLC, is mentioned in some of the documentation, Mr. Bona, who actually operates the yard next door and is one of the owners of this property. He said his intent is to actually, because the blocks are removed, he is going to take down the entire fence and put up something more robust and more permanent. Obviously, he hasn't had a chance to do that at the moment. So I guess where I'm going with this last statement is one of the old sayings, walks like a duck, talks like a duck. But on the flip side, we have no hardcore regulation to point to say that is an actual violation. Maybe something that could be addressed in the future. We're doing some rewrites of our regulation, a big revision of our regulations currently. There's something to be addressed then. But and not to be all doom and gloom, the property is substantially better than what it was prior. And I would present that for the most part, there's no commercial activity going on currently at the property.
Okay, so the materials related to, well, the previously stored commercial materials have been removed.
Correct.
The issue is, I remember there was a gate, there was access way, or access between the 2 properties, between this lot and then the legal contractor's yard. Now, did you say the fence there has been, is that fence closed? Is it closed off at the moment?
It's closed off at the moment.
But it's not a permanent.
Yeah, it's not a permanent
It's a
closure.
gate.
Yeah, it's still a gate. Yeah.
Still a gate, so they could.
And I have not heard
open it up
anything since that photo on August 18th. The neighbors who have been, lack of better terms, who have been complaining and inquiring, they have not followed up. They have not mentioned that that's been a problem. They have not, they've been complimentary that
Oh, yeah, okay, you can see here, the
yeah,
gate is closed.
yeah. it's
But it
definitely
is
close.
still-
It's still a gate, it's, yeah, but they've been complimentary, they've been very thankful that, this scale has been, remedied. So, I mean, you could always use again, another one of the age-old arguments in zoning is the ones who are complaining, they do seem satisfied. And, they haven't made mention of any activity that, they are unhappy with that could run afoul of the regulations. This is just something we've picked up on.
Yeah, and absent some authority, some clear authority in the regulations, I'm not inclined to.
Yeah.
I would certainly recommend to the property owner if they're listening.
Yeah, if they get,
to-
yeah, they're not, but they'll probably hear it.
Well, if they watch it.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
To, remove any doubt and install a permanent fence between the two lots, but by the same token, if there is some ambiguity in the regulations and there hasn't been any amendment of those regulations up to this point, then, my hands are kind of tied. So, I mean, I would certainly commend the property owner for taking the steps they have and removing the materials that needed to be removed from the property. So at this point, does the city have anything further to add?
No, do not, and. Except here's your decision form.
Right. All right, so first I'm gonna make a finding of proper notice, as previously indicated. There was a finding of a violation at the August hearing. It's my determination today that violation has been substantially remedied. So I'm not going to issue a fine at this time. I will continue the hearing just to ensure continued compliance. I'd like to see if anything is done with that gate, if that gate is used for vehicular traffic, commercial vehicular traffic. And also just to ensure that the lot remains free of materials that were previously removed. If that's the case, then I think at what the next appeal hearing, again, late October, early November, most likely notice will be provided. This matter could be wound up and dismissed.
Perfect.
All right.
That sounds good to me. And this is also one of those for if something did pop up, I would get a call from the neighbors really, really fast. They're very on top of it. The last one there, very good. Here. All right, and now we have one more, our last one, and try to make a little humor out of these things. Out of all the ones that I thought were or weren't not gonna be here, this was the one I thought was gonna be here 100%. And just had a feeling they were gonna be, and they're not. So, best laid plans. This is gonna be 61 Ohio Avenue Extension. And then we're going back to number one on the agenda, where I thought we were gonna go, so that was a bit of a swing and a miss on my part there. That was oh, for sure. Anyway, that's the previous decision form. And this is the notes from the last hearing.
Okay,
So presentation goes as follows. Last time we were here, August 23rd, 2023, again. At that time, the property owner was present, so it was a quote unquote contested hearing. Violation was found, continued to today's hearing, no fine, and either must be totally resolved or have significant progress by today. So I want to keep in mind, because if I may here, they were here, they received oral notice about today's hearing, so we did not send Constable Bondi out for them. Typically, and this may be something going forward, if we do oral notice, just throw that somewhere in the decision box.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
But they definitely were, go on the record, or whatever I gotta do, raise whichever hand I gotta raise. He was definitely here. We even gave him a copy of the next date.
Yes, I do recall,
So
the property owner being here and,
I'd be a little more worried if a little foreshadowing, if things didn't go the way they went, I'd be a little more worried about it, but I think we'll be okay. Even though it's not explicit here that the property owner was here and aware of today's hearing. So
well, just
Yeah,
jumping
sure,
quickly
yeah, go
there, based upon what's just been articulated and based on my recollection of the August hearing, the property owner was here. There was oral notice, which I did not indicate on the decision form, which was my mistake, will be corrected moving forward for sure. But notice was provided, and in this instance, notice is found.
excellent. So first, item to present, a little thick, but we'll go through it there. So this was an email I received from a local land surveyor we've worked with for a very long time, and in fact was at one point a contractor for the city. So know him very well, and he knows our regs pretty good. So he emailed me with an inquiry regarding 61 Ohio Avenue extension, and second line saying he's currently working on the noted above survey. So that was one of the big hurdles the owner had to do, was obtain a surveyor. So which this is an indication of that. The next page on there is actually, this is the original survey done. This is not what the contracted surveyor presented. This is the original survey of the property, a portion of it. As you can see, it's a unique property. It's pretty close to the street. Usually don't get that too often. And the second page is just, there's his information there. Greg Cogan. I think he's also one that the zoning office is very familiar with. So then the next page, so it's if you want, there you go. If you want on the last page, for you, I'll go through
Okay.
is the full size for your convenience. I just couldn't get the 11 by 17 on here. So the first part on the left-hand side of what you're reading there. So this is the map that Mr. Cogan provided, the draft that he provided. So as you can see on the property there's the shed in question with no permits. He has the setbacks as it sits. The side setback is 6, which that luckily for the property owner it meets. We got a little lucky there.
Perfect.
But his issue is the rear setback has to be 5. And it's 3.8.
Okay.
So a little off. So he needs to move it towards the front of the property, minimum 1.2 feet. It's about 14, 15 inches is what that works out to. Now that kind of runs into a second problem that he probably didn't, count on. Was if he moves it forward, he may be encroaching on a parking space that's required. This is a two-family residence, so it requires 4 parking spaces. So as part of my comments back to Mr. Cogan, I said 1.2, but 2.2 feet. Let me do my math properly there. 2.2 feet is what it needs to be. Oh no, 1.2.
No, 1.2.
Yeah, I don't know why I
yeah.
wrote 2 here. That's right, Greg didn't pick that up anyway. So it is 1.2, but it still has to move forward. To have a functioning shed, you have to be able to open the doors. So it may run into that first parking space.
Okay,
So now he's under no obligation to move it because the shed is the structure itself when the doors are closed. So I think he does have enough room to move up 15 inches or so to not run afoul of that parking space. It was a friendly suggestion that maybe on his next survey to show that parking space relocated to where the other 2 are at the rear. Those are in a compliant spot, they're legal to show that it's moved. And what I also wanted to show, you can see part of it there in the front with my green marker. I'll go to the next page here. That little area in here must be landscaped. This has to be landscaped here. It's not currently.
just asphalt? Or-
It's asphalt, gravel. It just cannot be any parking surface.
Okay,
So this does happen from time to time. It's a residual of the of us doing our investigation. Sometimes we see another violation that is just presented to us. When we can't, in this case, with what happens is we can't stamp a permit with a violation.
okay,
That's what this is showing. So he's gonna actually have to make this some sort of landscape as well. And
so the property owner hasn't come in yet with an application? He's got the survey, which was.
he's
what
got
we
the
asked
survey
him
and the
to do.
surveyor, and so that's
And
where
the
I'm going, my next
Well, then-
slide, if you
Let
will.
me just cut you off.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
No, that's fine. So I responded to Mr. Cogan on the 7th of September, with all those amendments and all those, markups. And he had a little follow-up and all that. And he's a bit of a character, so he throws some jokes in there sometimes, so you gotta bear with his email there. But he definitely, he had a couple more questions, and he did call out my math right there.
There
He
we
called
go.
it out, so, he picked up on it. So we had so he had some questions about the parking more or less, which is again, that's not the violation in of itself. It's just something we picked up on. Which we would make a condition of approval because that's not, the violation is to relocate the shed. That's what we
Yes,
found.
yes,
So as a residual of that, we found the parking in the front setback. So we're not gonna hold that against them here in this arena because it wasn't known before. Now we know about it, but we can make it a condition of his approval.
okay,
So when he gets his, there'll be a note on the bottom, cannot close out permit until driveway's rented. So Greg had some follow-ups there, and last but not least, and then after our conversation there, on the 13th, he sent me and he actually sent me a compliment, very fair approach. He doesn't say that too often. And he did ask about the property owner, figured, I guess, while he was doing a survey and all this site work, wanted to add a portico. I'll save you the long way that Norwalk is known for having a little bit of a convoluted definition of a portico and how it can be arranged in setbacks. I'll spare you all of that. We're going a little bit back and forth with that right now.
okay,
That's why Mr. Cogan hasn't produced a final survey yet. Cause he wants to, cause if we can make the portico work, he'll put it on the survey and we'll include it with our permit.
okay,
But he hasn't, we have to go back and like to our regulation, if you wanted to beat your head against the wall a little bit, look at our portico setback regulations. They're not. I don't know, what somebody was, they were in a dark room when they were making those up or what, I have no idea. As you can tell by Mr. Cogan's confusion, like he doesn't even.
Okay,
Didn't even have it there. So, the city's request and finding here is that, while while an approval or a full application would have been ultimately desired on this one, given the three factors, one, he did obtain a surveyor, which was something we were looking for. The surveyor did produce a map of existing conditions and asked for our comment. And three, given that the surveyor's, shall I say, reputation with the city, I am and our staff is confident that this will not fall by the wayside. This will, Mr. Cogan will follow up, or at least, and the property owner has also called me once during this process, to see how everything was going. So, the staff is okay with a continuation to allow for this. In all honesty, this probably could be resolved by the next time we're here, but we're okay with letting this roll a little bit.
okay.
One of the few times we
perfect.
don't ask for fines. We're not asking for a fine, so.
Well, good, because I'm not gonna issue one.
Figures that.
No, not for this. So, last time we were here with the property owner, there was a finding of violation. I will find it. The violation has continued, but there's been substantial progress since the last, meeting, which is what ultimately I had asked for and what the city had asked for. So I will continue this matter. It sounds as though there is a resolution with respect to the violation, this initial violation.
Initial violation, yes.
And what's holding this matter up is just resolving the issue with the proposed portico, which is not something that we have to consider right now, and it makes sense to get everything everything resolved in one permit application. So I'll continue this matter again till late October, early November, whenever the next hearing is. I will not issue a fine at this time. Again, if this sits stale for, the next month plus, then obviously we'll reassess. The violation can't exist forever, but for the time being, there's communication. And it looks as if we're headed in the right direction, headed towards compliance. So violation found, substantial progress. Hearing continued and no fine.
Perfect.
All right, perfect.
Right. So with all that being done and said, we are through today's hearings, all 5 items relatively painlessly. Except for that little skip at the beginning there, we'll see how that turns out on the recording tomorrow. But other than that, it looks like we're in good shape. So for those of you following at home, our next set of citation hearings will be on October 11th, and those will be presided over by Attorney Gary Overs. And we also have another one scheduled for November 1st with Attorney Overs. Next time you'll see Attorney Studer is, well, we'll figure that out. We'll let you all be surprised. So until then, have a good night. And we're gonna end that.